us to know you.
Thank you very much, President Nicholas. I'm a hometown guy. I was born and raised in Milwaukee. I graduated from James Madison High School and then went off to La Crosse State University and back to UWM. I know that it's a Saturday morning and there's just so much to cover. I don't want to get too long-winded. I'm going to begin the presentation by sharing my screen. Share my sound. And I have already started recording. So again, good morning to all of you. I have been around a little bit. I left Milwaukee after a few years at Channel 6, and my career took off. It took me to several cities, and it exposed me to a lot of broadcast business. And I retired about 8 years ago, but don't know how to sit still, so I'm back in my hometown. I titled this presentation, Let's Be AI Curious. If there are any of you in the room that are not sampling and playing with AI, I really encourage you to. To understand it, AI means artificial intelligence, and it refers to the development of computer systems that are capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. I'm not going to read every line because you have this copy in front of you, but if you imagine the way AI works, think of it as a work companion, or maybe it's your pet computer, but you can ask it questions and it gets a little smarter based on the amount of information you give it to work. I'm going to give you some examples of that. But first, I just want to make sure everyone understands this is a powerful bit of disruptive technology. Technology that is transformative, and it basically changes the way we live. I asked AI to tell me the top 20 disruptive technologies that have changed the world, going back to the creation of the wheel, and most recently, artificial intelligence. 2023 is kind of the breakout year for most Americans really using the phrase AI. But over the last few decades, AI has been developing, and it's been revolving around the advancement based on linguistic and mathematical and logical reasoning. AI applies technologies that are deeply integrated in what we already do. And when you add to that, that robots are being developed separately, but they're going to have access to the information of AI, it's going to be a very interesting future. Interrupt me anytime if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to save some time for some demonstrations. There are three main types of AI. There is predictive AI that analyzes historical data and predicts future outcomes. Now, depending upon how old your car is or how old your phone is, you experience predictive AI every day. I got in my car one day, turned it on, and a little message popped up and said, 11 minutes to Park Place Cafe. I had not told my car I was going to Park Place, but using old information of where I have been, it made the assumption that since it's 7 o'clock in the morning, Matt's going for coffee. There's generative AI, which I'm going to show you some examples of. And as I mentioned before, there's robotics. I don't have any robots in my closet, but they are coming and they will affect the production of materials that we buy. It affects our healthcare system. There are farmers right now using satellites and AI to navigate their fields and plow their fields while they're sitting in a control room. That's kind of amazing to me. Predictive reasoning, I just touched on. We already experience it. There are many examples of predictive reasoning, and I'm not going to read to you because you have this, because I'm really racing to show you the really fun stuff. I have been exploring with a few of the many AI platforms. OpenAI was founded by a group of people that believed this technology should be available to everyone for free. But things change. They started out putting it out on a free platform, but eventually there were people that were investing that said, you know, we need to be able to make a little bit of money on this too. So what happens now is there are several OpenAI platforms you can get into, but then when you want to be upgraded to more powerful tools, that's when you generally have to pay a little bit more money. You have undoubtedly been hearing about ChatGPT. That's like the star quarterback of a lot of these other platforms that's been out there. But there's also Bing and Claude 2 and Bard. Well, Bard just changed its name. It's now Genesis. My favorite working tool is Leonardo because I'm a graphics video person. I'm going to show you examples of what it can do. The same with DALL-E. And DID is mind-blowing. I used to think it was the best thing I've ever seen, but in the last few weeks, there's something even bigger and better that I will show you a little bit of. Colossian and DID do similar work. Okay, the platforms that I encourage you to explore, I really encourage you, explore ChatGPT, Genesis, Bing, or Claude 2. When I'm working every day, I have all 4 of these platforms on my browser because I test them against each other. Sometimes it'll tell me it can't answer my question. And that might be because I asked it something about a living person, or that might be a public figure, and the people behind it don't want to get sued, number one. There are certain things they don't want to say, or they don't want to speculate on. So I play them one against the other. Like, if mama won't let me do it, I go to daddy, you know? The benefits of these platforms are many. I'd like you to read through this at your own speed, as well as the limitations of these platforms. But let's get on with it. The power behind AI, the power behind ChatGPT and the others, is how well you can tell it what you want it to do for you. Prompts can be very simple. They can be one line, or they can be pages of information. The more information you build into your prompt, the better job your AI platform will do for you. So we're going to test drive ChatGPT. And this is about the 5th time I've done one of these presentations, and I've learned that I should not interrupt myself. I'm going to show you several prompts, and then after I go through them, I'm going to come back and get off the PowerPoint, and we're going to look at the answers that we get from these particular prompts. So if I want to take a culinary vacation, I can give ChatGPT this particular prompt. If I want to travel to Europe and take a train after I fly, this is a prompt that I'll show you the results. And if I want to write an essay about something, like a 500-word essay on the expansion of Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Black community from when the state was founded in 1848 to 1921 after the end of World War I. I ask AI to mention notable elected officials, mention any major civil disturbances, and describe the types of employment we had over the years. And if I'm doing a report on something like the Old Testament, I might say, summarize the Old Testament. I might say, give me a list of all the popes and their duration of reign, and describe the founding of the NAACP. Who were the essential participants? Where did it occur? And education, oh my goodness. I'm hoping that we get smart and start using AI to help us educate our children at home. And I'm hoping that our schools stop being afraid of it and they start using it in the classroom. And I'm looking forward to the time when they combine AI with virtual reality, where you put the goggles on and you are transported into a different space. So imagine you are in 5th grade and you're learning about the Revolutionary War, and you hear the story about George Washington crossing the Delaware. With virtual reality and AI, you can be in the boat with George Washington. That kind of power is amazing. Now, being a kid that grew up in 53206, I had friends that had never left Milwaukee. My dad loved to fish and hunt, so we were always in the car going off to a lake or a river somewhere. But I had friends, and I would imagine that today there are still kids that don't get out of town. With AI and virtual reality, they can go to France and see the Louvre. They can go up to Dublin or Glasgow and look at castles. They can go on the canals of Venice. A friend asked me, "Hey, Matt, could AI write a children's story?" And I said, well, let's try. So we asked AI to write a 500-word children's story. This is a very small part of it, about a mouse and his alligator girlfriend. And then my friend said, well, do you think we can create some images to go with the story? So I went into DALL-E and I described the mouse and his girlfriend, and it gave me a series of pictures. Here's one of them. So I want to write a book with you also as part of this demonstration. So let me back up now. I'm going to come out of my PowerPoint. I'm going to back up to some of these prompts. And I'm going to show you the results. Interrupt me anytime. The first one is the travel prompt. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I'm going to paste in the prompt, and I'm going to hit send, and it's happening. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Culinary tour starting in Milwaukee, by Amtrak to St. Louis. Day one in Milwaukee. Then we get down to St. Louis. Here's some suggested restaurants that I could go to. Then I take Amtrak to Memphis, some more restaurants, Atlanta, Charlottesville, and then I take the train home. That's one. We go back to another prompt. Let's go international, starting in Milwaukee. Yes? So, starting in Milwaukee, create a travel itinerary to Europe. I want to fly into Dublin, Ireland. I want to take a train to Glasgow, Scotland. I want to know where I can stay. So here's a suggestion for a hotel. Suggestions for sightseeing. Tells me the trains. I can opt a direct train from Glasgow Central. Okay. Another prompt. Let's write a 500-word essay about our people in Milwaukee. From 1848 to 1921. And this is what it's telling me. And I'm hoping that you emulate these prompts when you have time at home and do variations on them, and you'll see what it can do for you. Are there any questions so far?
Is it best to use the chat GPT with like the app version, or just use it through the website itself? Like, is it like
no difference? No difference. Some people like to work on their phones. I like a big screen. My computer monitor is a 42-inch TV. I like to see things big. But if a lot of young folks, they're on that phone, they don't mind it looking a little small. That's your choice. It's all going to come from the same source of information. So I want Chad to summarize the Old Testament for me. And here we go. Well, he gave me a very short summary. Now, let's say I want to ask it a question to elaborate on a particular thing. So inside of his response, I'm going to ask, how many times was the Torah written? I'm not sure if that's an intelligent question or not, but boom. Okay, that's kind of a short answer. I might want to drill down on that if I'm doing a research piece. Sorry, let me just get another one. I could ask it to list all of the popes. And this one I did just out of curiosity. I asked it to describe the founding of the NAACP. I did not tell it how many words to write, so it's just arbitrarily deciding for me. But it's telling me about Ida B. Wells, Mary White Ovington, Moorfield Story, Oswald Billiard, and so on. And now, I just picked Chicago for this one. I was doing it quickly. Coming back to education, I asked it, what would be a great field trip option for a 6th grade class?
I went to Panera's.
I'll give him on those muffins.
He has a muffin. There's another one on there in the box.
Oh, what you do with all of them? He ate them and you threw them away.
Oh my God.
Martha, Martha,
And Luke.
mute
Yeah.
yourself. Mute yourself.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I'm just gonna sign off. Take care. Thank you.
So designing a trip for 6th graders going to Chicago, I could have said any city in the world, but it told me these are some of the things that a 6th grade class might benefit from seeing. Now, I told you about the book for the children. Let's write a book right now. I've done this prompt and I'm asking it, I'm saying, ChatGPT, you're my partner on this thing. You are a retired African-American local broadcast news reporter, producer, and director. Write a comprehensive outline for a book about a Black person surviving the 1970s in local television at the beginning of their career. Make it 10 chapters, include the need for mentoring in your description, include the importance of finding the right role model, talk about the low starting income, the issues of acceptance, and identify blocks where I can insert anecdotal stories. Write it in the voice of a wise survivor with a sense of humor. The sense of humor is kind of a challenge because chat doesn't really have a good sense of humor. I lost my spot here. Okay, so using this prompt, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. Now you can see at the top, I've got my other platforms. I've got Gemini, I've got Claude, and I've got Chat. I'm going to paste this in Chat, and I'm going to enter it. So it's given me a title for the book, A Journey Through the 70s Local Television. I don't like the title. I could change that. Chapter 1 is a bold beginning. And then this is just the outline now. So I see the outlines for 10 chapters. So I can go back to the top and I can add write chapter 1. Include the fact that rioting happened in 1968, Chicago, and journalists covered it. That's not a very good question, but I'm giving you an idea. So it's going to write chapter 1, and it's going to weave in that additional thought that I had. So you can see it's gone back here, growing up in the aftermath of the Chicago riots. The landscape of racial tension was not familiar to me. The newsreels of blah, 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 okay? So you get an idea that you can write your book using ChatGPT as your sidekick. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment and ask, are there any questions so far? Oh, the room is getting empty. I'm sorry. Any questions so far? All right, I'm going to show you something else. Using the help of ChatGPT and some of these other platforms like Leonardo, 11 Labs, and DID, I have created talking avatars. And
if you value the importance of public education, you'll want to know about.
Can you hear that audio?
Milwaukee will face a 250 decision on whether or not to sign off on a referendum in support of schools.
I think it's right.
Not alone.
Can you get that? It might be right.
Public school districts. And 131 of those districts are turning to referendums to secure needed funds for their schools. The city has not kept up with the rate of inflation since 2009, and the cost of providing school services has risen. The result is equity gaps in accessing resources, opportunities, and support services.
Okay, I don't want to call her a person. That graphic that was talking to you was made from artificial intelligence, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I go to an app or platform called Leonardo. There are several similar platforms, but I really like Leonardo. I can describe a person in the top line. I will say 70-year-old black man, brown jacket, gray hair, glasses, sitting in dining room, and I hit generate. Now, while it's working, I'm going to show you some other creations I've made by describing them just like I typed that one in. All of these were written by me, and above them, you can see the prompt that I built for each one. 60-year-old black female anchor. I created some cartoon-like figures, children, and so on. So I'm going to go back up. Normally it takes about 20 to 30 seconds to create what I want. Here we go. So remember the prompt I gave it. I said 70-year-old black man, brown jacket, gray hair, glasses, sitting in dining room. Now, from there, I go to another platform called 11 Labs, and I type in my script, and I pick a voice from a library of voices. These are all the different possible voices. And after I do that, I've already picked a female voice. I can play it, and if I like it, I can download it.
Single voice read of both parts for timing. Anchor number 1. Welcome to LPS Reports, brought to you by the League of Progressive Seniors and Souls to the Polls, Wisconsin. I'm James Thurgood, and I'm Lenore Ginsberg. LPS Reports is a podcast hosted by avatars. Our reports are written by members of the League of Progressive Seniors.
You get the idea?
Matt,
You can't see it.
the lady is still there. You never moved the lady where you said, if you value the importance of public.
I'm sorry. Let me fix that.
Is the mouse supposed to move too? Like,
Yes, I apologize for not making it so that you could see that. I'm gonna go back and redo something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna share. And
You've probably noticed that the cost of college has
Many countries in Europe make it free or at very low cost.
What's-
Increasingly,
could you see his lips and can you hear him?
His lips are moving.
it might be the connection.
Yeah, it might be our connection.
Our connect, yeah,
Yes.
connection down here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can see it. You can see him.
It's just a connection.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is there's nothing on the screen to tell us that it's computer generated. So how do we know that it is absolutely generated by a human one-on-one? And especially in politics today, this goes on and on and on, and we don't know who's really saying what.
I think that's.
And that is why we have to pay attention. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Now, by the way, all of the videos that I'm showing you, none of them have gone online yet. The League of Progressive Seniors here in Milwaukee is going to begin doing the LPS report, and it's going to be done using an avatar. And what I do is I brand everyone with a little dot that shows an AI to indicate that it is done with artificial intelligence. So that's how I'm doing it. This is such an embryonic period in the development of AI that the rules are still being made. Okay? I think it's incumbent on any content creator to show their cards. Okay? But the things are so photorealistic, if it's not intentionally a cartoon, it's very hard to know. But there are flaws. If you know what to look for, AI does not know how to do fingers. So when I show you, I'm going to go back and show you a list of faces and images, and you will see some of the flaws in AI. I try to hide the hands.
You've probably noticed that the cost of college has risen across the US, while many countries in Europe make it free or at very low cost.
Now, when you look at her, you can see that her hands are down low, and I had to make this image like 5 times before I could get one where her fingers do not look deformed. That's always a giveaway. Again, this has never been used. This is all just me practicing. But your comment about this being difficult to know when you're being talked to by an artificial construct, that's very real. Now, it gets even more complicated because, let me just go to another site. These are all constructs that I have made. I've created all of these as tests. And as I said before, you don't see hands here. But I'm practicing messaging. I'm trying to get ready for the time when I'm going to start using these in the real world. So
It feels like every candidate running for re-election is asking me for money. I want to know what my ROI will be if I invest in them again. I'm still trying to figure my ROI on what I gave them for the last election 2 years ago, seriously. All of these candidates need to step up and explain why they are worth supporting.
now, I hope you noticed the AI that was on there before I zoomed in. And should it be bigger? Maybe. But I think that there will be enough things in here to let people know that they're listening and watching an AI that it won't be a problem. For example, here's one of the anchor people that I'm creating for the League of Progressive Seniors report, and he will identify himself.
You've probably noticed that the cost.
No, I'm sorry, that's a different one. I don't have that one up, but anyway. Are there questions so far?
Meaning we don't know where to start.
Sorry, repeat that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I just made the comment that I really well, I just dislike them, honestly. Those AI generated images, especially when they're people, especially around the gentleman made the point in regards to like political information and things that's being spread. So I see them a lot on social media, for sure.
Understood. I'm going to show you something that partly addresses what you're saying. Can you see the PowerPoint? I'm going to skip over music because it kind of speaks for itself. But I'm going to go through a couple of other things. And some of this is going to touch you because I don't want to hold you too long. AI is going to have an impact on business, and it will definitely affect manufacturing and transportation, customer service and retail. You're seeing it already when you log onto the internet and you go to Amazon and you look at something, and then the next time you didn't buy that thing, but the next time you're on, Amazon is reminding you, hey, you looked at this, you want to look at it again, you want to buy it? This is pretty amazing. This happened on my birthday, February 23rd. Tyler Perry was shown a new piece of artificial intelligence. He was about to spend $800 million to expand his studio, and he decided to put it on hold after seeing what Sora could do. And he then talked about the loss of jobs that he anticipates as a result of this technology. So now I'm going to give you a look at what he was reacting to. I have to find it. Oh, I lost it. Let me go back to it. This is called Sora, S-O-R-A, AI. Let me try it again. Sora OpenAI. Now, I just showed you how I make a video by describing a person, and it's rather simple. This scene you're looking at was made by the prompt below that says, a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. She is not human. None of the images in this are human. But this is what's coming down the pipeline, and this is what Tyler Perry saw. Here's one that blew me away. This is created by typing a description. Now, if I'm making a Western movie, I'm going to spend millions of dollars to create the scene. I'm going to have carpenters building the fronts of all these fake buildings. I'm going to have wranglers handling the animals. But Somebody sat down and all they wrote is this thing at the bottom: historical footage of California during the gold rush. And this is what they got. The camera follows behind a vintage SUV with a black roof rack as it speeds up a steep dirt road surrounded by pine trees on a steep mountain slope. Tour of an art gallery with many beautiful works of art in different styles. This looks like I'm in the Louvre, but it was typed by someone. Look at this cute Dalmatian with his tongue he stuck out.
Is it real?
No, the prompt says the camera directly faces colorful buildings in Burano, Italy. An adorable Dalmatian looks through the window on a building on the ground floor. Many people are walking.
Is his paws disabled?
It's not a real dog.
Hands is disabled. A human being, I'm asking to identify by the paws being disabled, you know. They look distorted. Yeah, they sure don't.
Again, AI is not perfect. It has a hard time doing extremities, but this is where it is in 2024.
I have a question. Does this also affect people who are investing in stocks?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. What you're seeing now, no, but AI definitely affects stocks. And it has been doing it for years. There are people that have access to software that says, if the stock market does this, you do this with my money. If the stock market goes up, you do this with my money. And it happens faster than thought, faster than a human being can react. That AI programming with the computer, it does it so fast. That is what almost caused a market fail a couple of years ago, because everybody, all the power people, were using something that reacted to the same news, and it dumped.
So the investor, if you have someone who investing for you and they are
AI.
I'm gonna try to get this question right. If the person that you that's investing for you in any way that if AI interferes and you lose your money and you already pay an investor to invest your money, who do you come after?
You can't.
I mean, if they, if they don't mention the money over, I'm just saying.
For credit union.
It's
Yeah,
easy
but
to do it for yourself now. Compared to paying somebody.
That's what I said.
They got
I want you to remember that the headline for this demonstration was "Be AI Curious." Be curious. We all got to go out and read about it and do our homework and get on YouTube and look at different examples of the latest and this and that and try to get smart about it.
But so the whole month of October, they focused on AI and the tech, and I went to all of the free programs, and that was really good to do that. And the question I had with Google, the brother came from Chicago, was showing how Google and all of these here that they're using. Yeah, but he was talking about the danger, and so that's what I was talking. Anyway, he did a presentation showing the danger of Google, the control, and how that they can go in like, Google can just like manipulate. Yeah, you period.
Let me just, sir, you've got your hand up. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Using yourself because of what you just did with your great big coffee mug as an example. Say there was advertising on it and you're not authorized to use that cup online so people see your advertising. So you use AI to change what's in your hand like Clarence's Starbucks cup here. And so that you're off the hook. And even if there was a clock in the background, and of course you backed it up, it would show it's the same time. So how do we know that you didn't make that change because you're subject of, let's say, a lawsuit and you're going into court about it? How does the prosecutor prove that, no, you made a change, or you prove that, no, I was using the Starbucks cup and they made the change?
A couple of things. By way of example, I started off in television in 1970. We did commercials right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If we were selling ice cream, they would not put a scoop of ice cream on a cone or in the bowl. They put mashed potatoes in the bowl. Because the lights were too hot and the ice cream would not hold up. Okay? They've been doing the smoke and mirrors with us for as long as there's been media. To answer your question, this technology is getting better and better and better. And I work with it every day. And there's stuff that pops up and I have to stop and stare at it and watch it several times to figure out if it's real. In the news this week, scandal, the Princess Margaret in London, she put some photos out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I took one look at the photo. I knew it was a fake photo. You know why? Because I told you AI does not do fingers very well. So you start to learn what to look for, but as a regular person, as a senior citizen especially, because we're targets as seniors. There's always somebody trying to get over on us. The reason we're doing this conversation today is me begging you to be curious and do a little homework about AI.
Yeah. Let me look at your hands. Are you real?
Yeah. I got a little bit more here. I want to show you something real quick. Because I want to respect your time. I don't know how much time you all got, but I'm going to share and try to finish up my PowerPoint.
Yeah, I appreciate this. Like, as a millennial, and my daughter is a Gen Z, like, technology has changed so much from mine to her generation.
Yeah.
So the world is just
evolving.
Yeah, and so everything's turned technology, unfortunately. Like, so she's better at it than I am when I'm a millennial. She's only not about to be 9. So if you learn it,
I was just. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does she have books that?
No, I still believe in regular books. Like, I'm millennial.
Oh, I want to know, are you doing critical thinking skills with your baby? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound
So,
like
do any of you remember having a Polaroid camera?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Do you remember the last time you went to the store to buy a roll of film? Okay. Those are companies that did not pay attention to disruptive technology. They had a chance, but they didn't pay attention, and they are shadows of their former self. So right now, in retail, these people are trying to keep up. Amazon is setting the pace, but Walmart's right behind them. Spotify is running the music game, and Target and eBay and Temu, they're in the game too. I'm going to just touch on job security because it's really important and it affects our people. AI, I'm sorry.
About you be on the computer and so long and look at the radiation that's in the computer. Is that why so many people are getting breast cancer and brain cancer? It's because you be there too long. You're supposed to get up and really take breaks and get your children off there in particular. You know, because their brain is study growing. So you shouldn't have to radiation is definitely in that monitor, it's in that computer, and it definitely can affect you.
It's really the soy too. It's everything is soy based. Like, I'm like,
my doctor says everything in moderation.
There you go.
Job security, Better pay attention, job security.
Okay, tell us about job security.
Yeah. Yep, job security.
This slide pretty much says it. If you're an architect, it might take you months, maybe even years to design an apartment complex. AI can do it in seconds, maybe minutes if it's on a lazy day. If you're a paralegal doing research, it might take you a long time, but AI can find that information in seconds. A journalist pulling information for research, a business writer, a code writer, it's all the same. AI is on it. The fallout is potential budget cuts and reduced staff by some companies. Think about it. You got a business, let's say you are a newspaper, and your print papers, people don't want the paper to come to the house anymore. They want to just jump on the computer or on their phone and read the news. Okay, so do you still need the truck drivers? Do you still need the people that fold the paper, the people that bring the paper? Those are jobs. Fact checking, manufacturing, transportation, data entry, customer service. These are all things that are going to be if affected. Here's the thing that I really got to talk about: code bias. If you haven't heard about code bias, we need to pay attention to it. We've heard about platforms like Wikipedia. It's like an online encyclopedia. But when Wikipedia was formed, there were no Black people, Asian people, Hispanic people feeding that information to Wikipedia. It was people that had a little bit of money. They had a computer. They knew a little bit about technology. So they're writing history and putting it up there. And people that don't know any better are just grabbing it and reading it and thinking, that's my history, that's my fact. So along comes AI and along comes Google search engine. You're searching on Google and you want to know something about Dr. King or Helen Keller maybe, or the Nazis in World War II. You're going to get a version that is created by anybody in the world that put information out there. And AI has to go grab it and say, hey, I found this for you. Eat it up. So we have to ask, where did the information come from? It might have gotten to you lickety-split because of AI, but is it real? I'm going to give you an example of how I caught a really huge mistake. I am a family genealogist. I've been doing it since 1986 when my daddy died. I was working on information about Pike County, Mississippi, and I wanted to test AI. So I asked ChatGPT, describe living conditions for African Americans in Pike County, Mississippi, 1866. Well, Chat responded immediately, gave me this long description of life for Black folks in Mississippi in that particular county. And it started saying things that I immediately knew were not true, because it was supposedly quoting federal records talking about the surname Mixon and how it appeared for African Americans. The reason I know that's not true is because we were not counted as human beings, and we did not show up in federal documents until the first census of 1970. So I said, okay, to myself, let me try to ask Chat, what are your source material? Chat responded really quickly. It gave me sources, and I knew they were crap because I live on the census because I've been doing research on both sides of my family, and I know that what it was telling me just did not exist. Now that is called an AI hallucination. If you read some articles about it, it will tell you that sometimes AI makes stuff up. It lies. And that is why you have to always be skeptical. Even if it looks really good, you got to double check it. You got to cross check it. But it's still a great assistant to have. So the upside, and here's the fun part. This is the part that we need to embrace. For our children, personalized learning, skill assessment, early intervention and tutoring, language translation and learning, instructional design for modules, helping them with innovation, and so much more. And the things we should be talking about is, how will AI change the way we teach and learn? And will this technology create jobs or displace people? Now, the people that used to make wheels for wagons were really concerned when the automobile came along, but they figured it out and they went on to other things. We need to be aware of code bias, especially for us African Americans. And will AI affect the reporting of news? Absolutely. Will it be used for nefarious means? Absolutely. You know, if I said I invented water, there'd be somebody out there trying to use water to commit a crime. And how can AI deliver the work of the NAACP? We can talk about that at length because I got some ideas. So, some of the factors that will likely affect us are the speed of computers being improved. The faster they get, the more powerful they get, the more it can do, the more deeply it can search. New algorithms, and I'm not an algorithm kind of guy, but I do know the word. The faster those things are developed, the faster AI will proceed. And data access. There are pockets of data in America, in the world, that are not open to AI. It might be, let's say, Howard University may have the collection of Dr. King or some other important person, and they never put it on the internet. And one day they decide, let's put it on the internet. All of a sudden now it'll be assimilated, and that information will make AI smarter for those people that want that information. Try to imagine how AI is going to affect your job in the next 2 years. Just think about it. If you have an assistant that's doing simple online research, you may discover you got to cut that person's hours in half. You might even think you're going to let them go. When computers first came into the office place, I was working in Boston, and I had a secretary. And she would come into my office and say, please dictate to me, because I went to not the Wharton School, but Miss Porter's school for business skills. And I don't want to lose my speed, so will you dictate to me? And I said, Mary, I type, I'm a touch typist. I'd rather just type my own document. But she was trying to hang on to yesterday. And I'm trying to get her to understand, you know, your job is kind of in jeopardy if this is where you are, because I don't need you to dictate. I had another secretary at a different station. She was petrified in front of the computer. And I said, I got to tell you, I'm going to give you a month to read that book and learn how to do some basic stuff, or I'm going to have to decide if I can keep you. Now, this was 20 years ago. Okay? But here's the good thing. Imagine teachers that can use AI to teach learning disabled children. Imagine teachers that have access to virtual reality and AI. Imagine educators being able to offer early intervention and student support and enhanced language learning. So by 2030, let's play what if. Let's assume AI has evolved tremendously by then. And I ask this question naively because there is a television company that owns 203 television stations in America. And, what's that?
What's the name?
Sinclair. And let's say they have a really good bean counter working for them. And that bean counter says, wow, you know, in every one of our stations, we have 2 anchor people that read the news, and we have another bunch of people that are out in the field, you know, recording it and reporting it. What would happen if we take our smallest TV station and we replace the 2 anchor people with avatars? And they are the ones that read the news. How much money would we save? So I did this little model, and if they were only paid $60,000 a year, that's $18 million when you spread it out over a group. That's for that model. But then I thought, hey, well, that's pretty compelling. But guess what? It's already happening. I didn't know it at the time, but there's a new AI news channel that's coming, I think it's supposed to appear sometime next month. And it's going to be done with avatars. And
What's the benefit?
they're
What's the
called,
benefit?
what's the benefit?
No, what's the benefit of making so many people expendable?
Greedy.
But okay, so you can either have people doing something productive, or you can either imprison.
That's
And
one.
And so we have to be, look in the mirror, and who do you want to imprison the most?
And
You already imprisoned the most, and that's.
Mark didn't have to ask the question, but you're paying less wages.
I'm
Is
gonna
that
answer
it?
that question. I'm gonna answer that question with a question. I'm a big Star Trek fan. Any of you watch Star Trek?
Occasionally.
Think about in Star Trek, in the entire Star Trek series, how many times did you see people with a job in the future?
They was all working on a ship.
No.
They were all they were scientists. They made Whoopi Goldberg. She ran the bar. There was an alien that had another casino, but everybody else was in technology. And their futures were kind of vague. We just knew that they were sitting at a computer doing something meaningful. The answer to your question is partly greed. But let's say you own a company and you have 1,000 people working for you, and you're in the communication business or you're in any business, and you discover, wow, I'm McDonald's hamburgers, and I got a zillion McDonald's franchises. And somebody comes to me and they say, you know, Matt, we now have a robot that's run by AI that can make those hamburgers for you. And initially it'll cost you several $1,000s to put it in, but it is flawless. And you don't need the people for 18 hours a day making hamburgers. You don't pay their salary, you don't pay their benefits. The machine will not make mistakes. It knows how many ounces.
Miller Brewery.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, so
Chick Miller Brewery, they got robot.
Just got.
That's why we got all this,
Wait, hold on. What did you just say?
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A just got a new spot coming up. That's completely
AI.
just AI.
When you say new spot, you mean the restaurant?
Yes.
I got it. I don't think I'm on TV.
Do you know that in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, well, actually in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, right now, there is a restaurant that has a robot bringing you your food?
Oh, yes. I hate that.
Is
Is that why we got all this stuff going on there 2 weeks ago?
What restaurant is that?
It's called the Golden Nets.
Yeah.
Is that why we got all this stuff going on? People trying to find a way to make money, and the only way they know is crashing sales.
Between that.
We got innovation going on faster than we got. What we gonna do when people basically don't have the income and just have time on their hands?
That's what we have now.
I think.
Regular driving, all those things, everything that you see happening is happening.
Most people, I think you just want to make sure like we stay afloat over Technology because everything is going to that. So trying to learn how to use technology.
I have two adult children. Both of them are in the communications business. My son is a writer in Hollywood. He's writing a script with some very famous co-writers for a movie that hopefully will come out next year. My daughter is a mom. She gave me a granddaughter that turned 2 years old yesterday. But my daughter, one of her side jobs is she reads scripts. The most recent movie is The Color Purple. When the actors are doing their thing, they squeeze my daughter's voice in between on a special track for people who are visually impaired. Okay? Both my kids are really upset when I start talking about artificial intelligence because it threatens their livelihood. They don't want to hear daddy talking about this stuff. But I'm talking to them about it. I'm talking to all my Black friends and family, because if we don't get off the track, we're going to get run over by this technology. We need.
I guess the question is, how do you, so educators and I understand that you know, in your presentation, you stated that it's beneficial for people who are educated. But at the same time, how do you prepare the children though? For things that are coming, like should you, because you're gonna need people, or they're gonna need people to, when these AI, because it goes down. It happens. So are you going to be educating the children? Because a lot of it is mathematics and maybe even science.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what type of education or what are they what are they implementing in the curriculum?
But it's not only implementing the curriculum, it's what the
Let
what the
him answer.
parents could, the parents, the parents, you know.
Answer your question again, please.
I'm still doing something though.
So what type of curriculum are they actually implementing to keep up with the AI, the innovation that's gonna take place?
She gonna be right down.
Yeah, but not every school is doing that. And that's not.
Man, can you answer?
Yes, thank you.
I can partly answer that. The answer is very, very little. But I gotta throw it back at everybody in this room.
Yeah.
You know, if we have grandchildren or children that are still in school, are we going to the school board and asking
you
them that question?
The
We are our best advocates because nobody's got all the answers. This thing is moving so fast. The politicians can't write laws fast enough to make a set of rules for this. So
Yeah,
as grandparents and parents, we got to get in there and talk about this and come up with a policy.
China. I have a question about the ancestry.com, which I want to use, but those, I know they making boo-boo money since we were 3/5 of a Negro for, you know what I'm saying? So, and I heard to go in and say, oh, people come from Ghana. Oh, yeah, and I gotta go back and I said, well, how is that possible when they didn't have no record of you, even if, because you was property, you was like cattle. You wasn't counted, so how's that possible? And they definitely making a lot of money, that's for sure.
Have access to the sense.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm a believer in DNA, especially the Y chromosome.
Right.
It's taken me back to some of my Caucasian and Asian and European ancestors back to 1699. And it's been, some of these connections are confirmed by 20 different sources. So it's not for everybody. I got family members that don't want to do it.
Right.
But it just comes down to us doing our homework and asking a lot of questions and not always being mad about it, but being detectives about it.
Right.
yeah, that's nice. Nice way to put it.
Well,
Good way to put it.
this is critical. Thank you so much for this
Thank you.
information.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
So
You're not done.
one more thing before everybody breaks away. You have that sheet that's got my email address on it.
Yeah.
If I can answer any questions by email, I will be glad to. I just want us all to be curious.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Oh, listen. You see another one on the table with his email on it?
Yeah.
Would you put it on?
What do you want? What do you want from me?
Can you just give it?
Oh, go ahead. We'll run off some if it's not there. In it, you see it there on me? Wait.
Somebody show me an example.
It's online.
I got it. No. What was it you want, please?
The email is information.
It's Matt at mixonmedia.com.
Yeah, it's online.
Wow.
What does that look like?
Are you able to just bring up that slide one more time with your contact information?
I sure can. Give me 1 second to get to it.
Thought he was gonna be here in person.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I thought he wanted me.
No, wait. You made a question. No, Matt.
Yeah.
Blurry. Can you clear it? It's blurry.
There are some people that thought you would be here in person. Can that happen next time?
Yeah.
It's personal.
So,
It was a personal reason that.
okay, Matt, if we looked at March, I mean, not March,
April.
April. Could you, what's April? What's the third Saturday in April?
I'll tell you in a second.
Community brainstorm.
Third Saturday.
That's Saturday, April 20th.
It's always the fourth Saturday. The 20th or.
The 20th.
I thought it was the third Saturday.
No, okay, can you come again?
On the 20th, yeah.
30. Or 12.
So
On the
That's next month, right?
next month, April,
what time again?
11:30 or 12.
I'll be there at 11:30.
Okay, we'll work her, we'll do that. All right.
Okay.
The reason why it's going. The AI is doing, but after 50 years, seeing something.
Can I ask, what was this presentation helpful?
Yes. But, Matt, I was saying, could you come and I guess we can use our phones or we can bring our laptops for a
Bring your
hands-on.
laptops. Bring
Okay.
laptops. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody can bring their laptop and he can give us a hands-on demonstration. That's what I was hoping for. But what you do, excuse me, we got it. We've done that, the wiring. So you're down, Matt, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other questions for Matt?
Yeah, I just want to point out, there's a big difference between going on the internet and just doing research and looking for history and statistical research. And AI to be used in a creative sense. And I think that people really need to differentiate the two, because I'm doing the latter. I do a lot of research, historical research and stuff like that. I'm writing a paper right now on Tom Paine as an example. I don't consider that AI. That's just basic internet research, going to libraries and whatever. Where AI should be thought of, I think, as being creative and used to make new stuff and then not identifying it, as I keep saying.
Why not both? Why not use AI for both?
Doing research is not AI. It's just going on the internet looking for information.
Think about it like this. AI is a tool. It's like a typewriter. It's like a car. You use it to do what you want to do. Okay? Let's not attach some mystic meaning to it. It's just another tool. You know, we got used to having computers. Then we got used to having phones that are computers. Then we got used to having phones that are cameras and that can take video. AI is a tool with lots of different versions. You drive a Pontiac, I drive a Chevy. You know, it's a tool. And the basic use of those tools, we have to study and learn about them and learn about the limitations and the potential pitfalls. But we should not live in fear and say, oh, that's AI. I don't want to be involved in that. Because everybody will just pass us by. I'm going to give one more analogy, and I don't want to throw my friend under the bus, but I've got a friend who works at a newspaper, and he's the only guy making content on that newspaper. And he's doing yeoman's work. And I say to him, when we finish our hamburger and beer, I'm going to go home and I'm going to sit at my computer and I'm going to take 10 minutes and create 10 stories on Black men's health. And I'm going to email them to you. And I did. I asked ChatGPT 300 words on Black men and prostate cancer, 300 words on Black families and dementia. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I don't want you to trust this information. I want you to think of it like you just got a young rookie assistant, and you got to go behind that assistant and see if they brought you good material. But it's a tremendous time saver if you use it as an assistant. Don't use it like it is gospel. And then from being a one-person operator and only being able to write about things that you got a press release on, you're out there talking about health. You're out there talking about finance. You're out there talking about history. That's the way we have to think. It's a force multiplier for basic things that we need to do.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Give Matt a hand. Look for you in person.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.